Welcome back, gargoyles and boys. This is Un with another episode of I Played a Thing, Monster Party. We are continuing to make our way through the prototype of the unreleased Japanese version of Parody World Monster Party, and after this really annoying haunted mansion, I think we've got 2 more levels, if I recall correctly, the tower and then the finale, so we may or may not make it through this one today. This time I'm going to start using the map from the very beginning. It's a difficult map to read, as we discovered last time, and I do not know if it's actually accurate for the Japanese prototype, but let us hope so, and let us get started. Gotta be careful. If I take my eyes off the screen to look at the map, I get myself whacked by these comets. Well, the giant pants haven't changed a bit. That's good to know. Some things in this world you just want to be able to count on, and giant pants are one of them. Oh, Bill already. I see the comets still have a vaguely 1-2 pattern, which is a good thing. Oh, thank goodness. Oop. Not thank goodness for me getting myself hit, but thank goodness there is a source of hearts. A commenter helpfully pointed out after last episode that the way the anti-farming thing works in this game is that there are a limited, specific number of hearts available in any given level, and when you've exhausted them, no matter what enemy that's from, there will simply not be any more. Because of the comet spawn point here, this isn't the optimal place to go grinding for health, but it will do. And I can actually probably, I can reflect one into the pants there, and still get myself hit, but, you know, we're still profiting in terms of health in the long run. My timing is really off today, apparently. And a bright side to this very annoying level is that it does only have a single boss, and not a particularly difficult one. Of course, which bosses are difficult in this game, not always a reliable thing compared to the previous version that we played through, so we'll see if that holds up. Keep moving just a little bit too early. Of course, if I waited a little longer, I'd probably be a little too late, but again, I'm coming out of here with more health than I went in, by a substantial margin, and that's what's important to me. Okay, that's it. And now I've kind of lost track of where I am on the map, so we'll have to get reoriented. Oh well. Alright, this is going to be door K. Where's the other end of K? I'm kind of talking away from the microphone when I'm looking at the map, so I do beg your pardon for that. Yep. No, we don't want to get hit twice in a row. That's no good. Oh, that's interesting. If I hold down the auto-fire button while I'm walking as Bert, or Varyu if you prefer, I actually walk a little slower. I guess extremely rapid button presses kinda gum up the game a little bit in that respect. So there's a drop-off. If I go to the right of here, I'm going to go to door I. Is door I a good place to be? I'm not entirely sure. But let us hope. Where there's life, there's hope. Okay, we're at the top of the triple decker here. That's going to take us to door L. We're going to take an L. Get in my ear, pants. Okay, we got M and N. What we ultimately want is door Y. Door X is the exit, door Y is the boss. So N is going to take us to... Where the hell is N going to take us? I can't find the other end of N. Oh, okay, that's going to take us to the bottom of the triple decker. I think that's good. And that'll take me to O. And then O we've got... Oh, okay. O will take us to O, Y, and P, and Y is what we want. So this middle door should be the boss route. Knock wood. Yes, this looks promising. Alright, let's see what the Chameleon Man has to offer us in Parody World Monster Party. Oh, no dialogue. Chameleon Man is not chatty. I also noticed the Chameleon Man only has a single face. So, much like the Living Dead, the puzzle boss element of this boss has been removed entirely. Also, as with the Living Dead, it wasn't much of a puzzle boss element, because that one you just had to figure out not to attack, and in this one, you just had to remember that the correct face was always the one in the lower right. But, it is a change all the same. And another change that you've probably noticed at this point is that Chameleon Man cannot move vertically. Just kind of slides back and forth. Ooh, oh my goodness. But it does that Parody World Monster Party contact damage. I think it's actually a little harder... Oh, God almighty! Yes, starting to say I think it actually is a little harder to hit without taking damage, and that is in fact the case. Getting more than one hit at a time, not an easy bit of business. And this may take a little time. As with so many bosses, it would have been highly optimal to get here with a Burt pill. Again, or Varu pill if you prefer. But when you're navigating by a rather hard-to-read map, not the easiest thing imaginable. I see holding down the attack button to get the auto-fire on my emulator auto-fire setup while I'm in mid-air will also cause Mark, or Hiroshi, to move through the air a little slower. Now, that is another quirk that I didn't notice in the previous playthrough, but I was not actually using controller auto-fire at the time, so I wouldn't have noticed one way or the other. I'm going to assume, because the engine does seem to be fundamentally the same, that the same effect is observable in the Monster Party that saw publication. I took some very unnecessary hits getting the hang of this, but that aside, this is very easy, but a bit tedious. And on both counts, I can see why it was changed for the release version. Okay, well, at least it doesn't have a ton of health. Alright, key in hand, and now we just have to find our way out. Which was the big problem last time, so hopefully it'll go a little better this time. I'm just taking a look at the map here. Okay, I think I've got it from here. Take the next door to the right. And then I move 2 to the left. 1, 2, and that should get us out of here. No time for your nonsense, chair. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so very little changed about the Haunted Mansion. The enemies are the same, the layout is the same, there's just a difference in Chameleon Man. We do our save state thing, and oh, we've got some immediate changes here. First of all, Jason is more recognizably Jason. He doesn't have the whatchamacallit, the catcher's mask. He has his proper hockey mask here. And, instead of the transparent phantom thing that we would... Oh, damn it. Get off me! Instead of the transparent phantom thing that we had in the US version of Monster Party, in the upper right there, we have a Jiangshi, the Japanese hopping vampire. I'm sorry, Chinese hopping vampire. I was so used to thinking about this game in Japanese terms, I went straight to Japanese instead of the actual country of origin for the Jiangshi. My god, Jason! Elephant Man seems to be pretty much the same. Oh, he puts the bag back on his head if he hits you. I wonder if that was true in regular Monster Party. I'm really not sure. You know, I took a little more damage there than I'm strictly happy with. Let's just reload that. Oh, shit. Kinda snuck up on me. Not really sure what the deal is with Jason. It seemed like he was taking a bit of walloping there and just not really caring. To get rid of Elephant Man here, I'm going to take a look at the proto page on the cutting room floor, see if they have anything to say about that. Holy shit, the answer is yes. Very yes. Jason, in this version, takes 48 hits, as opposed to 8 in the US version. The cutting room floor speculates that this may be a reference to Jason's near invulnerability from the movies, and that seems sensible enough to me. So does the hopping vampire have a certain patrol path, or does it kind of turn left and right at will? That seems like it has a set distance, which is good. Oh, but it gets more active when you get on its level. Fortunately, a bit of hits done. So yeah, these things are a bit more dangerous than they were in the US version. Some fairly substantial changes in the normal enemies of this level. We'll have to see if that holds true to the bosses. The combination of Jason and Jiangshi in any given floor can be kind of bad for your health. Hopefully we won't see too much of that. Let's see if I can find a place to do my hits here without getting in trouble. Seems like they have to be exactly on your vertical level in order for their fast hopping to be triggered. When I'm a little bit above them or below them, it doesn't happen. And it doesn't look like they ever vary their patrol path based on your presence or lack thereof. Hey, drugs. Excellent timing. Hello again, Royce. What have you got to say in this version? Caterpillar. Rumble rumble. It's not terribly clever, I don't think. Unless there's a joke there that I'm missing. I prefer I'm Royce. He's all still nestled snugly in his bed, at least. Still not entirely sure what that's about, but it's cute. Doesn't seem like his overall shtick is particularly changed, although the increased contact damage with bosses does not work in your favor with a boss that is all about the contact damage and rather fast. None of you guys had any hearts, did you? No. Ah, but you do. And I should be able to use the ladder there to go up and down and restock on that. Alright, health restored as much as we can restore it for the immediate. I don't really need to worry about killing enemies at this point, I don't think. Well, I am going to need drugs ultimately, but I've exhausted the health available here. I don't really remember with any certainty where the bosses are, so I'm going to see if I can get myself a pill before I go into any new doors. Whoop. Hey, there we go. Wasn't a pill, but it was as good as one. Hello there. Some sort of transformer? I don't know. Let's check for dialogue. Crackle, rumble, rumble. Well, we've got some very rumbly bosses in this, and not too much actual speech, just a lot of onomatopoeia. And this is our replacement for the Grim Reaper, who I honestly think I like a little better. Bit more monster-ish, and welcome entrance to hell was always one of my favorite boss lines from the original. Or the US version, I don't know which you would really call the original. Anyway, let's fight it. Oh, wait. Those are definitely facehuggers. So, have we got, like, a robot xenomorph here? Don't know if there was really a way to, do that any better, taking less damage, but I'm not going to worry about it. Now, one thing I did check is whether or not the boss glitch, that is, defeating an extra boss makes you lose the key. I did check whether that's present in this version, and it is not. And the reason for that is there are only actually 2 bosses in this version of the level. The spider sequel is not in the prototype. And the reason for the glitch is that they added in the new boss for the US release, but the code for this tower checks to see whether you have killed exactly 2 bosses to determine whether or not you have the key. They threw in a third one, so if you kill a third boss, you lose the key because they didn't change that code. Oops. Wait a minute. Something happening over here. I stuck onto a ladder for a moment there. A ladder that was not present on the screen, but it seems like it stopped working. Really not sure what all of that was about, but, well... something I never noticed in the US version, so whether or not it was there, and I just never found it, I really couldn't tell you. Really hoping for some help from those question marks. I may or may not be on track to finish this without the patch code, and I would like to if I can. But if I do need the patch code, I will not hesitate to use it. Worry not. Really not any more chance of getting hearts from any of the enemies in this level, now that I know the way the anti-grinding works. But you never know, someone might drop a question mark that'll give me a little health. Doesn't happen often, but it would sure be welcome. Drugs are good too. Don't need them for any more boss fights. but they help keep us alive against the regular enemies. And that's A-okay by me. Especially the annoying flying things. Shooting Jason from a distance, I actually could hang around until he finally dies, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of purpose to that. Yeah, still no health in those question marks. Oh, no more health for me. But we should be able to move on to what I believe to be the final level without further incident. Now, what we have here is the level that was easily the most difficult in the US version of the game. If that remains true in this more difficult version of the game, that is concerning. But we shall do our best as always. And I am immediately noticing another change. We don't go to the left to find the first boss anymore. Okay. That being the case, I'm not sure where the first boss is going to be, so I'm going to see if I can get a pill before I go into any doors. And in the process, I have found a heart spawn. Or I thought I had. Oh, there it is. Okay. Need to take down a couple more firecrackers before it appears. And is it me, or did the firecrackers take more than one hit in the... No, wait, no they didn't. No, they took one hit in the US version as well. I was doubting that for a moment because I think they did flash and take a moment longer to explode in that version. Not entirely sure of that, but it seems like they blow up really quickly on being hit in this one. Well, I think that may be the case. Alright, that is that. Let's save state just to be on the safe side, my health being in a much more desirable situation right now. I would like that to remain the case. And I would like a pill. Oh, ask and you shall receive. Oh! But it would help if I were looking at the screen. And not walking into any witches. And it took my eyes off the prize there for a moment, and it bit me. Oh, okay. Another subtle difference. The constellation kind of tosses its stars in an arc rather than shooting them straight at you in this version. And it is the hand creature. Hand creature, what's on your mind? Are you able to see all of these rock, paper, scissors? That's kinda cute. Beats Face My Wrath. Seems about the same. So we will just stand here and blast it. Hopefully not take too many hits. Done and done. Now, you know, these were taking one hit to kill as Mark, weren't they? And as Bert, they're a little more resilient, which is surprising. Usually the shots do more damage than a straightforward bat hit. Don't know if we have a boss here, so I am once again going to see if I can find myself any pharmaceuticals. Mind the low-flying witches. Yeah, in what is usually a harder game, the stars being kind of lobbed here actually makes them quite a bit easier to avoid, and I am just fine with that. I seem to remember this temple being a boss spot, so good thing for that pill. And yes, it is Snake Man. Snake Man says, "I'll stretch out your chin with my Pharaoh curse." To be honest, I kinda liked Oh Boy Mark Soup a little better. Well, no soup for me. Oh! Trying to fake me out a little bit. Gotta be careful here, but don't want to be too careful. because running out of birch juice against him would be a very bad thing. Oh! They automatically blow up after a certain amount of time. Interesting. And one of them had a pill here, and I want to reclaim that, just in case I run into the dragon. Also, is it me, or was Snake Man a little further off the ground there? Seemed like he had a little bit of ground clearance, which he did not, if I recall correctly, in the US version. Trying to make some decent time here in case I need to conserve my pill for the snake. Or the dragon, as I should say. Snake Man is what we just did. I am about to run out of pill, and if this is the same as the US version, the dragon will be in the church, so I would like to find another pill if I can. Marvelous. I want to hustle. Yep, still in here. Slight difference in its starting appearance. It is stretched out instead of curled up, and it is flickering like mad. Something they fixed in the release version, I suppose. And it says, "You're a good boy. Hurry and go to sleep." I guess that's a little more clever than, watch out, baby, or whatever it was it said in the US version. It actually seems a little easier to avoid its hits. It's not quite as aggressive about sticking to you, it seems. That's the impression I got anyway. Which, with Parody World boss contact damage being what it is a very good thing indeed. And we are going to hurry up and hustle to the exit so I can keep my pill for the end boss. This is probably going to be tight. My health could be better. Alright, end boss looks basically the same. Although my colors are a little messed up, I think. Dialogue here is, "How dare you finish off all my friends? You cannot return to your world unless you defeat me. Come, this place shall be your grave." Pretty similar. A little wordier, but pretty similar. I like the bit about, "this place shall be your grave" instead of "come and die." That's a little more poetic, I suppose, would be a word for it. Anywho, let us do this. Okay, eyeballs are definitely a different color, and notably, the nose does not seem to have a shield, making this much easier. I don't know if it ever closes, or if it just does so more rarely, but it sure didn't during that period. As I advance the text here, I'm kind of looking over at the ending text translation, and it seems to be more or less the same thus far. Although, instead of a princess, our box lady here is referred to as a goddess. And as before, things are going very badly with the goddess. It doesn't seem like we've had any graphical changes or anything. In Japan, said graphics seem a little less extreme. Nintendo censorship did really not affect the ending in the US version as you might expect. with the grotesquerie of it all, and Mark's decaying body. Okay, it seems like there's actually a subtle difference here. In the US version, Bert whispered, "Let's go again," whereas Varyu here is saying, "Alright, let's go." That is a small difference, but it seems to me like there's a slightly different implication to it. Like, in this version, it could have all been a dream. But, Mark wakes from his dream, he goes to his door to go to school, and, Varyu is there, and he's saying, "Let's go," so now it could be happening for real. Whereas "Let's go again" in the US version, that kind of implied to me that the dream was real, it all really did happen, and now it's all going to happen again. We're just going to go back and have another adventure. And I think I like the latter better. I think the "let's go again," the implication of that one little word, changes it in a way that I kind of enjoy. Oh, is that out already? Doesn't seem to be advancing any further. If so, the credits in this version are really short. Yep, buttons are doing nothing, so I think we are already through the ending. And said ending, again, aside from that subtle but meaningful distinction, are pretty much the same. Also the goddess instead of the princess, but that doesn't have a whole lot of meaningful impact, I suppose. Well then, my friends, that is Parody World Monster Party, and with that we have seen both versions of Monster Party, the release US version and the unreleased Japanese. And for my money, it made a pretty interesting comparison. We not only saw some changes for the sort of reasons that you usually see in localization, like cultural things like the Haunted Well story. We also saw some that were made for presumably legal reasons, the various removals of the parody subjects. And on top of that, a few changes that were probably relevant to this being a prototype rather than the final release version, some things that were changed when the game was polished and tightened up for the final release, like the animation on the waterfalls in the lake level. It seemed like some of the flicker was improved from the dragon, and some of the flicker was reduced for the living dead, although that may have been a function of there being only 2 of them in the US release rather than the 3 from the Japanese. Also, of course, for better and for worse, some significant rebalancing was done. All in all, a pretty worthy exercise, I think. There are a few games that I'm strongly considering for LPing down the road that also have some interesting differences from version to version, and I will probably give those a similar treatment. For now, however, this is going to make for a pretty short episode, but we are out of games, so we will call it here. Thank you all very much for joining me on this little doubleheader. You can treat that as both a two-headed monster and a baseball joke if you like. Next video, we will be embarking on our magic-focused good ending loop of Demon Souls, so I will see you in Boletaria. Until then, take care, and that's game, Hendrix! Today's second verse, similar to yet interestingly distinct from the first, has been brought to you by Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zagamarth, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo de Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Mechasaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, Dodecalope, Jarogue, Martin Schoenmakers, Mayo the Hedgefox, Hildegard Argelmach, IGV, Jazel, Joseph Hall, Dan Larson, K. Ivan Rupert, Tiny Shopkeeper, Charlie Dunst, Kikoskia, Kobo4231, Yuka Takeuchi Fan, Chaotic Narrative, Mystery Accent, Lakota, Mayan Ling, Renaman, Fate Everywhere, Rio, TJA, Sparkaziah Lefzer, and other recurring patrons. Thank you all for your tremendous help in keeping the lights on here at I Played a Thing HQ. As always, it really does make a difference. And thank you all out there, commenters and subscribers and quiet fellow travelers alike, for accompanying me on another adventure. A fine week and a fine weekend to you and yours, and Salad and I will be rejoining you very soon. I'll be looking forward to it. Hello out there, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've had a good time, and I've been glad to have you. If you enjoyed this video, new subscribers always brighten my day, and if you really dig my stuff and would like to support me on Patreon, I shall be very grateful indeed. You're also invited to go with the stream every Friday at twitch.tv/unplayedathing. Thank you again, and have a good one.